Hi, and welcome to the golden years of Hollywood. Well, following the release of Gone with the Wind in December 1939, Vivien Leigh suddenly became the most recognisable and famous actress in the world. Capitalising on this success, MGM borrowed her from David O. Selznick, who had her under contract. They teamed her up with Robert Taylor and made what was to become her own personal favourite film of her career, Waterloo Bridge. Based on the book by Robert E. Sherwood, which was drawn from his own personal wartime experiences, Waterloo Bridge was first performed as a play on Broadway in 1930, then adapted for the screen by Universal Pictures for the 1931 film version starring Mae Clarke and Douglas Montgomery, who was acting at the time under the name of Kent Douglas. Now, this version is largely forgotten today, but is notable as featuring a young Betty Davis in one of her first screen appearances.
He met a girl last night in an air raid.
An air raid? A funny place, what?
And he fell for a hook, line, and sinker.
Now, MGM bought the film rights in 1939 and adapted the story to make the main role of Myra far more innocent and likeable, which really heightened the drama that ultimately led to its tragic conclusion. This made the 1940 version a real tearjerker and, in my opinion, one of the best films ever produced in Hollywood. The story is told in flashback, with Robert Taylor playing the part of Roy Cronin, who's an officer in London at the outbreak of war in 1939. Stopping briefly at Waterloo Bridge, he remembers back 25 years before when he was in London as a serviceman during World War I. It's during a bombing raid that he meets Myra, played by Vivien Leigh, who's in London performing with a ballet company. The two of them get to know each other and fall in love, and they quickly decide to marry, but Roy is called back to the front before they have a chance to say their vows. Skipping her evening performance in the ballet to say goodbye ends up costing Myra her job, and she and her friend Kitty have to find another way to support themselves. In the meantime, Myra arranges to meet Roy's mother. But when she finds out in the newspaper that Roy has been killed in action, she collapses. Now, whilst Myra recovers, Kitty realizes that to support them both, she needs to earn money quickly, so in desperation, turns to prostitution.
How have we been living? What difference does it make as long as we live? Where's the money coming from? Where are you getting it? Where do you think I've been getting it?
Feeling responsible for contributing to paying the bills and feeling she's got no other options, Myra joins her friend on the streets.
How about a little stroll?
However, it's not long after, and while looking for business, that she accidentally bumps into Roy, who's returning from the war, and he explains that he'd only been injured and was taken prisoner, but is back home now and eager to continue where he and Myra had left off.
I can't believe it. It is you, isn't it? It's really you.
Oh, Roy.
It's really you.
They travel together to the family estate in the country to plan for the wedding, and Myra tries her best to put things behind her, but finds she just can't go through with it.
Lady Margaret.
Yes, Myra?
I can't marry Roy. I've got to go away. I must never see him again.
But, my dear, what can it be that is so terrible? Has there been someone else?
Oh, Lady Margaret, you are naive.
Myra.
Yes. Yes, yes.
Myra.
Yes, that thought which is now in your mind, which you are telling yourself can't be true, is true.
Myra.
Running away from Roy and back to London, she realizes she can't escape from her guilt, which leads her to make a drastic decision. It's a tragic love story that still affects me every time I see it, and I think it's the combination of script writing, acting, direction, and the overall production that makes this a true classic that's lost none of its magic since it was made over 80 years ago. Originally, it was planned for Laurence Olivier to play the part of Roy Cronin, and Vivien Leigh was really looking forward to the prospect of working again with her fiancé, but MGM boss Louis B. Mayer had other plans and cast Olivier in Pride and Prejudice opposite Greer Garson. This upset Vivien, that led her to state at the time that she was afraid it will be a dreary job. I have no jurisdiction whatsoever as to what happens to me or what I'm given to do. I'll just have to like it. However, once filming started, she found that the work was more enjoyable than she'd anticipated, and that the director, Mervyn LeRoy, was a breath of fresh air compared to Victor Fleming, who'd she'd just finished working with. She also got along very well with Robert Taylor, whom she had previously worked alongside in the 1938 film A Yank at Oxford. It was also only a few months before production began that England declared war on Germany, which made this film one of the first to include World War II in its plot.
At 11:15 this morning, the Prime Minister, speaking to the nation from number 10 Downing Street, announced that Great Britain is at war with Germany.
Now, after the film was finished, both Vivien Leigh and Laurence Olivier began making plans to return to England to assist with the war effort. But before leaving Hollywood, they were finally able to star opposite each other in the historical drama That Hamilton Woman, which told the story of Lord Nelson and Lady Hamilton, who had both left their marriages to be with each other. It was very much a case of life imitating art, with Laurence Olivier and Vivien Leigh finally getting married during the production. Well, Waterloo Bridge is a timeless classic, and I've seen it many times over the years, and it still affects me. I think it's very much due to the performances of both Vivien Leigh and Robert Taylor. Both of them claimed it was their favourite film, and I agree, it's one of mine. I'm David Duncan. I'll see you next time.